And we are live on YouTube on Comedy School's channel. And we are live on Facebook Live. Good afternoon, everyone throughout the known universe. The known universe can actually witness and view this program, which is Living on a Thin Line. And we broadcast it every day at 2 p.m., except Saturday when we do it at 7 o'clock at night. But every day at 2 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then again Sunday at 2 p.m. here on Facebook Live and on YouTube on the Comedy Schools channel. And if you just want to listen, and there's nothing just as we give justice to the art of listening, you can listen on Comedy Schools or RadioNetwork.com. And we do this every day too. People are going to start joining here in a second. We're going to be so glad to see you. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday in America. It is April 8th. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're sane. I hope you're finding ways to fill your day with interesting and exciting things. I know at this point, for a lot of people, boredom is really kind of setting in, a certain sameness. Hello, Nick Rupert. Hello, Tim Lawson. Hello, Trey Goodman. Hello, Brother Jer. But we got to find ways to alleviate that. We're building schedules. We're working on our business. We're growing our business. We're doing other things. We're exploring avenues. A lot of things are a little frustrating right now. And by the way, these minor frustrations we should welcome if these are our problems. I know for many of my dear friends and family, they've had their lives upended in that now they have to, especially those of you that are teachers, are so many different office jobs are now working remotely from home. And it has been twice or even 3 or 4 times more. I'm not a mathematician. More work than the way you were doing things previously. And you know what? The same for us too. We're moving our entire business online. That's what we're doing right now. And it has been a mammoth undertaking. And you know what? I don't want to diminish what's going on for so many people in the world, which is far more serious at this point. But it took something like this to motivate us to become more efficient. So kind of exciting because tonight I have an advanced class. I've got a whole group of people. I'm going to invite each and every one of you, if you send your email to me, to witness our first advanced class, Zoom online show, April 17th. It ought to be a lot of fun. I've got some great comics getting together that night in a Zoom room to do a show for you. We're learning new ways to communicate every day. Also, if you ever thought about taking a workshop, we have our new basic workshop starting Thursday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Go to our websites. We've got some great new stuff on the Comedy Schools RadioNetwork.com website. You're going to want to take a look at that. It is refurbished. It is new. We've also done a lot of work on the ComedySchools.com website. 2 websites for you to look at where we have interesting stuff, fun information. Going to be adding some video there. And we'll tell you a little bit about our shows and our workshops. Okay, enough about that. I don't know how things are in your area here today. It's Arizona and it's cool. And we always appreciate a cool day in Arizona. It was in the 80s, but then the clouds came in and the breeze was blowing. And my faithful dog Roscoe and I went for a 1-hour walk through our neighborhood, and it was mighty, mighty fine. Tim Lawson says you need a little thing like Romper Room when you say to people, I see Timmy, I see Nick, I see Trey, I see who else do I see? I see Jerry. Hi, everybody. You're in the Romper Room. So we kind of built this show around showing you 2 things every day. And one is I've got so many little knickknacks and memorabilia and goofy, unimportant, silly things around this room. And I'm going to show you, I've got enough stuff here to show you for a long time. So we are showing you all these little collectibles that I have over the years. Some of them you'll be interested in, some you won't. I thought I'd show you this little oddity right now. Okay, and look at this. Yes, it's a shoe. Yes, it's a shoe. Am I showing you a shoe? No, I'm showing you a radio. This is a shoe radio. Now, I forget who bought this for me, but it was a gift. And it doesn't...
Vince?
Maybe it was Vince Ramirez, my son-in-law. It was a FM, excuse me, FM radio. It had volume on it. I don't know. Yes, you could put a little 9-volt battery in it. It would work. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to scare up a 9-volt battery, and tomorrow, if I can get it to play, I'll play it for you. A shoe radio, very offbeat. Okay, if you're a radio collector, this is one of those rare, interesting things that you might like. This is what Americans did, man. We combined so many great things. That's how come when this slows down, when this comes to an end, it will slow down, and then it will come to an end. American innovation, American know-how, and by excuse me again, American innovation and American know-how, I mean you and me. That's who I mean. Okay, you and me finding new ways to do new things. We're going to create some really exciting stuff. I put up a quote yesterday, late last night, on my Facebook page by the great writer Marcel Proust. And I'm not going to be able to say it exactly right now. But he said, the greatest voyage does not consist of seeking out new landscapes, but having new eyes. The greatest voyage does not consist of seeking out new landscapes, but having new eyes. And for those of you right now struggling because there seems to be a sameness, let me suggest a great inner exploration. One of the great ways to be creative, okay, one of the great ways to excite the mind is to look at old things in a new way. Old things in a new way. So many of the things I've shown you around here have just been sitting around here gathering dust for years. But now I'm having to look at these old things in a new way, and they have new uses. So like this silly shoe radio, I have to remember now, Shirley and I are trying to figure out who gave it to us. We're going to find a way to see if it works so we can play it for you tomorrow. We're going to find out. We're going to find out, because on radios, the cool thing is they're very good at documenting where they're made and what they do. They got model numbers on them, etc. So I don't know who bought this originally. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to go, you know what? Let's make a shoe. It's plastic, by the way. It's a plastic shoe. Let's take a shoe, design a shoe, but make it into a radio. Somebody had to have that idea, and then somebody else had to say, good idea. Then someone had to design it. And once it was designed, then someone had to sell it, and someone had to buy it. But all that took place with a silly thought in someone's mind. Let's put a radio in a shoe as a decorative item. So one way for you to be creative is look at old things in a new way. I know some of my writer friends right now are going, I'm going to having a hard time to think about things to write about. But look around your house, look around your home, look into your past, look into your heart, look into your thoughts, and go, I'm going to write about that. I'm going to write about that. One of the issues, do I see George Fraser here? George, hello, my good restaurant owning friend from South St. Louis. If I'm seeing you there, hello, I hope you're doing well. One of the way, oh yeah, we got Craig. Let's see, we got Charles Kaminsky here. Jerry says it sounds smelly. Randy, Aoma's watching. Randy will be one of the comics on the show April 17th that you'll be able to witness. These are some pretty bold people right now. Hello, Jim Perry. Jim Perry, too, will be on the show April 17th. Todd Fisher is watching. Cousin Mimi, she asks, have I ever seen a solar radio? We have, Cousin Mimi, a solar radio in the backyard. You can see through it. What would you call it? Transparent plastic radio. You can see the parts. And it is powered by, isn't it radio powered by the sun show?
Which one?
The one that's, yeah. So we do have a solar radio. We have a solar radio outside, and my little granddaughter discovered it around the house and is now at the age where she's going to be 11. She's going to be 11, and she around 10 discovered, instead of jumping around in the pool like a child, laying at the pool and listening to the radio. And she found that radio and put it out there and put it on her favorite Arizona FM station. And it was so cute to see her out there listening to that radio. And I didn't even know she'd found it. I didn't even know she did it. So she found something old that I just bought as a novelty and was using it for its intended purpose. And it still sits out there. And we listen to it when we're doing yard work. Yes, we do. Yes, it winds up too. That is right. Hello, Kevin Brown. Hello, Jesse Garcia. Hello, Shane Hicks. Oh, my word. Shane Hicks from the early wild days of comedyschools.com when we were known as the Tempe Comedy College. So many great friends I've made in this great state over the last 20 years. many of you watching today. So I showed you this, the plastic shoe radio, okay? We're going to see if we can get it to work, and we're going to play it for you tomorrow if it does. Once again, if you have interesting knickknacks, oddities, or items around your house that you want to then take a picture of and send it to me on Facebook at Tony Vicich, Vicich. I'll get them up on my page, and then we'll talk about them, if at all possible, each show. Hello, Champ de Blasio. Shane Hicks, do you have any Bob Gibson autographed baseball cards? No, Shane, I don't. Contrary to popular opinion. What have I got here to show you record-wise today? I'm going to show you a couple of interesting compilations. And one of the reasons we're doing this is in keeping with the idea of in order to excite the mind, we look at old things in a new way. Or we look at new things. This is the second thing. We look at new things without opinion. Look at new things without opinion. So I'm pretty sure that oftentimes I have an opinion of something. I've been highly opinionated my whole life. And I've been working at and have become more creative with reducing my opinions and seeing how an experience or a thought affects me. So when you encounter something new, say you decide to, hello, Ian, hello, Patrick Halloran. Let's say that you encounter something new, okay? And in this case, it might be a book that you read on Kindle, okay? Or it might be a piece of music you've never listened to before, or it might be a television program. Just see how it affects you. Try to set aside your already innate biases, your personal biases, your already heartfelt opinion. Patrick Howlin says, I have an opinion on opinions. Yeah, I guess I kind of do right here. Ken Ferguson, the great improv coach from Casa Grande, and one of my very dear friends who I've worked with many times over the years, is watching. Hello. You set those things aside and see how they affect you, and then you can write about them, okay? Or you can paint about them, or you can write a poem about them, or a song about them, you know? Somebody going, I'm not a songwriter. Most songwriters are not songwriters. At the beginning, maybe you're a lyricist. Maybe you put together melodies. I don't know. Deborah Helen Gamble is watching. Hello, Deborah. But first, in order to be a creative, look at old things in a new way, or look at new things without bias or opinion and see how it affects you. Okay. For instance, once we all get out back running around again, let's say that you're not a NASCAR person. You don't like NASCAR. You have no interest in it, but someone says, hey, let's go to NASCAR. Maybe you go. And instead of going, oh, these people are all this, these people are all that, or this is all phony, or this is all silly. Just see how the experience affects you. Look at the people. See how it's affecting them. Write about that. It's amazing. Or even think about that. It's amazing what it will open up in your mind. So that's one of the reasons we're showing you records. One of the reasons is we have a lot of records. You probably have things around your house you don't use anymore. We'll eventually dig out our DVD player. We still have dozens of DVDs, many of which we never watched. Remember that? You would get so many DVDs that people would give you DVDs, go, oh, we'll watch this later. Oh, we'll watch this later. And we'll probably go back and explore them again. A lot of great inner exploration. A favorite band of mine when I was a kid was a band called the Moody Blues. We talked about them in an earlier broadcast. Moody Blues were a progressive rock band that were kind of symphonic, yet rock. They were immensely popular in the mid to late 60s and early 70s. And they had a song, and I can't remember the name of it, but it had a good little kind of rolling hook to it, like a feeling that you were moving along. And each stanza would end with the words, thinking is the best way to travel. And I'm a terrible singer. There it is. Thinking is the best way to travel. And I loved that when I was a kid. I loved it because we didn't go anywhere. We didn't have any money to go anywhere. Holidays, we didn't go to Florida. We didn't go to a water park. We didn't go down to the river. We go down to the big river, barbecue. But mostly we went to one another's houses or relatives' houses. That's what we did. We didn't travel. I didn't get on a plane till the day before my 18th birthday when I traveled to Arkansas. My good friend Kelly Wilson. That's a story I'll tell you sometime. Great time to Deb says, great time to plant new ideas in our inner landscapes. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's what we're talking to you about on YouTube right now. If you're watching on YouTube, that's what we're talking about on Facebook Live. Okay, we're going to keep our hearts and minds and souls soaring, Soaring. Garrett Gonzalez down in Texas. He's with us right now. Former alumni of comedy schools from the Entertainment Alley days, and kind of a tattoo freak. Aren't you, Garrett? Don't you have a lot of tattoos? Tell me if you do. And sometimes if I don't answer your questions, it's because they stroll past. No, I'm not missing anything here. That's good. I just want to be careful I don't turn myself off. I've turned a lot of other people off in my days. I don't want to turn myself off. That's one of the reasons. Garrett says no. LOL. All right. Okay. Not a tattoo guy. That's one of the reasons we show these record albums. These may be musicians and artists that you loved a long time ago. You've completely forgot about, or you remember, but you just like me with the Moody Blues song. I got to dig out that album and listen to it. Or they might be artists you've never heard of, and now you get a chance to experience them again. So this is our first record today. See it? See it? Okay. So it's not too interesting of an album cover. It's a bunch of names of bands that go around a silhouette of a human head. And what it is, it's the name of groups. It's the name of groups because it's a compilation album. The groups are Canned Heat, Traffic, Cream, Bee Gees, Johnny Winter, Bonzo Dog Band, and Spencer Davis. Okay? Traffic. And on this album, Traffic singing Feeling All Right, which was a Dave Mason tune. For those of you from that era, you may know who Dave Mason is. You certainly know who Traffic is, but you may not realize that Dave Mason at one time was the guitarist for Traffic. By the way, when he left, they didn't really replace him. And then Traffic became like this strange band of vocalist Steve Winwood and then a guy named Jim Capaldi, and I forget the other guy's name, just a three-piece, and one of the pieces being a saxophone. So Traffic, Feeling All Right. It was written by Dave Mason. It's produced by a guy named Jimmy Miller, who was the same producer for the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street. Bee Gees' Words. A lot of people don't know this about the Bee Gees. So if you know the Bee Gees, you know them from Staying Alive. You know them from Disco. But they had a huge number of hits prior to that. And they were more of a, I'm going to take a little drink of water right now. They were more of a they weren't a rock and roll. They were more of a torch song. Get my water. Love ballad kind of, and Words was one of their great love ballad hits. They also played this on the Smothers Brothers. I have a channel on my. Oh, that's good water right there, folks. If you're looking for good water, you get it right here from Uncle Billy's water bottles. I should start selling that. Friends, we just want to tell you right now, when you get thirsty, always reach for a bottle of Uncle Billy's water bottles. And it's good, clean water from the good, clean creek right down here, right before it gets to the mighty, muddy Mississippi. Actually, it's not. It's just a regular bottle of water. All right. So one of the channels on my cable is like a nostalgia channel. It might be MeTV, and they run the old Smothers Brothers shows, which I watch and find massively entertaining. And I saw the Bee Gees sing this song, Words, on it. I saw it when I was a little kid. We would watch the Smothers Brothers when I was a little kid in 68, 69, 70, and they always had great rock bands on. And so I saw it then and saw it again recently. Also, Canned Heat, Boogie Music. Canned Heat, one of the great bands of the 60s that were mostly forgotten after a few years. Although their songs are often used in commercials, songs like Let's Work Together. Come on, let's work together. They had Going Up the Country and also, I believe, Woodstock and so many other great tunes. Spencer Davis, I'm a Man, is the opening to it. Steve Winwood was in the Spencer Davis group. So what you've got on this album is you've got Steve Winwood with his original band, the Spencer Davis group, and then with the band that he formed when he left called Traffic. That's pretty cool. Then another Traffic song, huge hit, Dear Mr. Fantasy, which is written by, the three guys who comprised Traffic after Dave Mason left. Jim Capaldi, Chris Wood, and Steve Winwood. And it's just a great tune, Dear Mr. Fantasy. If I was going to recommend that you look up and listen to any song today, okay, please look up Dear Mr. Fantasy. The opening is great. It's just a great pop tune no matter what era you're from. Also on this album, Cream's mega hit, White Room. In the white room with black curtains in the station. So the writing credits are Jack Bruce and P. Brown. It was produced by Felix Babelardi, who also had a band called The Rascals. That's kind of fucking weird. I didn't realize that. Jack Bruce, the bass player for Cream. White Room being a massive hit. It was based on a poem. The lyrics were based on a poem. Once again, Canned Heat, Catfish Blues, which is an old blues song. And then Johnny Winter doing Bad Luck and Trouble. Once again, if you've never listened to if you want to hear one of the greatest guitar players of all time, forgotten so much after the 80s and the 90s, Johnny Winter's Bad Luck and Trouble. Johnny Winter was an incredible musician who never had a mega hit, yet his brother, who was a good musician and good artist, but not as great as him, had a huge hit, two huge hits, one being Frankenstein, and one being Free Ride. Come on and take a free ride. Then we got Spencer Davis again, the Bonzo Dog Man band doing Urban Spaceman. I don't know anything about that band. And Traffic doing 40,000 Headmen. So this is a great compilation album of primarily late 60s. I'm assuming United artists, and they put together this compilation. Most of them British, but a couple Americans, Johnny Winter and, of course, Canned Heat. So my recommendation, Felix Babelardi was the bassist for Mountain. That's right, Jerry. And his wife shot him dead. Well, it happens sometimes. That's why we all listen. Just as an aside, we all got to be super nice to each other during these times of quarantine. We're all doing the right thing. We're all saying, okay, as much as we'll want to go here, go there, we're going, all right, we're going to stay in as much as possible because that's how we can contribute to slowing this thing down and changing things back for the better, changing things back for the good. And it's going to happen. Okay. And when you're with people, you got to set the petty differences aside. You got to set the past. Sometimes we used to own it. It was almost cute. Oh, you know what drives me really around the bend is blah, blah, blah. And when they do this, that just makes me nuts. Or the little put downs that we give each other in a humorous way during the day. You got to end those. We're going to be kind to one another, empathetic to one another. And when you're not feeling good, if you're not feeling good, make sure you reach out to someone. I just got the inspiration the other day, put on my Facebook page. If you're alone, you feel like no one cares about you, I do. I care about you, I do. And I care about each and every one of you, and I know you care about me. Don't be afraid to reach out. You got FaceTime, you got regular phone. All right, first album. All right, now this second thing is not an album, but it's an important. Yes, Mary, Cousin Mimi says they're saying it's working. Yes, they are. Let's make sure it works, man. Let's make sure it works. You know, for me, this has been a very strange time. I'm in the live entertainment business. I've been in the live entertainment business almost my entire adult life. That's what I do. Okay. And that is gone. Okay. So we have totally reconfigured it. We're doing our workshops online. We're doing our shows online. All right. We're keeping home and hearth together. All right. And you find a way to do that too. We're rebuilding. You're going to rebuild. All right. Once again, if you ever thought about taking a workshop, I'm going nuts. Maybe I'll take a comedy writing and performance workshop. We got one this Thursday. You can join. We're going to have more coming up. We're going to have, by the way, for those of you that have children, those of you that have kids that are bored, we're going to start a teen comedy workshop, and we're going to start a kids comedy workshop. We're going to do a lot of things that we can do here remotely from home that maybe we couldn't do when we were just live and local. I know, Garrett. I know it's tough. But we're going to get through it. Garrett. You know, we've got people coming back to our workshop from Texas, New York City, Australia, all over the country. You can access this workshop and we can have a great time. Hello, Lily. Now I want to talk about this next album. This is the album you want to listen to. Look at that. YouTube, you see that? Facebook, you see that? ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. What am I showing people? The title is Smithsonian Folkways Recording, Anthology of American Folk Music, edited by Harry Smith. There are 84 selections. Now, this is compact disc, but I am so glad I own this. This record was put together by kind of a reprobate, kind of a proto-hippie beatnik named Harry Smith, who lived at the Chelsea Hotel, the legendary Chelsea Hotel in New York City, where I've had the good fortune of staying, where so many great artists have stayed, so many great writers, so much great American literature and music was created. One silly aside is that supposedly Janis Joplin's "Oh Lord, Won't You Buy Me a Mercedes-Benz" was written in a suite at the Chelsea Hotel with Chris Christopherson and a couple other people while they were drunk. It's also where, excuse me, Nancy killed Sid Vicious. But it's a legendary old hotel. Harry Smith lived there, and what he did was he did a compilation of what he called American folk music. And the total running time of these 6 discs, 84 tracks, is 4 hours and 16 minutes and 45 seconds. And on this, here's what he did. He put together all these records from the 30s and 40s that were kind of forgotten by forgotten artists. Artists like Dick Justice, artists like, let me see here who else I can find it. Furry Lewis. I got the Farmland Blues, Sail Away Lady by Uncle Bunt Stevens, Moonshine Dance Part 1 by Frank Clowder and the Victoria Cafe Orchestra, The Cuckoo Bird by Clarence Ashley. Many of the songs on this album, so here's the story of this album. It's one of those albums, and there's been a few in the history of recorded music, where they say it only sold 50,000 records, but the 50,000 people who bought it were all musicians. It helped form the folk music craze in the 50s that led to the rock, folk rock, and then rock music craze of the 60s and 70s and on. So many of the songs on the history of American folk music, including John the Revelator. If you're a fan of what's the motorcycle show? Sons of Anarchy. Okay, one of the songs that people love from Sons of Anarchy is John the Revelator. Who's that riding? John the Revelator. Who's that riding? John the Revelator. You know that song. The original recording of that is here. I'm trying to find where it might be. Prison Cell Blues by Blind Lemon Jefferson. Happy Wednesday to you, Arthur. Many of these songs were then reconfigured, some recorded straight out. Many of them became the basis of so much of the music that America loved for the next 30 or 40 years. It is the loam. It is the soil for so much of your music. I urge you to Google Anthology of American Folk Music and listen to some of the tunes. Here was what was really cool about this particular album and what it did. It's one of the wonderful stories. Now, once Harry Smith had put this thing out, so college kids started listening to it, and college kids decided we're going to have a folk music festival, our folk music revival, late 50s, early 60s, and they were quite sure that these records on the Anthology of American Folk Music, I just want to really get it in your brain, were must be 1 million years old or dead or gone, and a lot of them were quite alive. They hadn't made a lot of money as musicians, a lot of them African Americans, a lot of them poor farmers who had just been able to record a song or two, and they were able to find these people and then bring them to folk festivals. Were there, and people were just amazed. It was like seeing Lazarus rise from the dead, going, "Oh my God, I didn't realize there was a Blind Lemon Jefferson, that he's a real guy, and he's, well, in his 40s or 50s." They played folk festivals and had an incredible career. That was true, by the way, of people like Willie Dixon and Howlin Wolf, who never were able to reach an audience. Howlin Wolf and Willie Dixon and who sang Managed Boy? Why is that name escaping me? One of the biggest. Muddy Waters. Okay. And they never had a huge career in America beyond playing to Patrick Adams said, "What festival? Can I get the spelling on that?" Not a festival so much, Patrick, but an album entitled American Anthology of American Folk Music. Anthology I have allergies today, if you're wondering, of American folk music. All right. So you want to check that out. Anyway, Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and Willie Dixon. They then went over to England, thinking, well, a few people see us, and they turned out to be huge stars. Huge stars. My brother Jerry tells a story of a folk festival. Yes. Folk. Yes. Oh, okay. I see what Patrick was. You weren't actually interested in the music. You were thinking I said fuck festival. I did not. I can say it. I'll say it right now. Fuck festival. There. Tickle, tee. All right. So they went over there and they had huge careers. That happened for so many Americans. And of course, there's the legendary story of an artist named Sisto, who in South Africa, when they shut that government down, when they shut out the outside world and no new music was allowed to be played in South Africa, there had been a guy who came over and put out an album called Sisto, and he became a legend there. And legends were built around him and who he was and where he lived and what he did. And it was an underground record. You had to go over to people's houses to listen to it. And it turned out Sisto had not had much success past a year or two, and then was basically living practically homeless in Detroit for 20 years. And then once South Africa opened up its borders, they found out he was alive. And he went over there and found out that he was as big as Bob Dylan in South Africa, you know? And what does that tell us? What does that tell us? The stories of Willie Dixon and Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf. What does the story of Sisto tell us? What do these stories tell us? To keep hope alive, because you never know when there's a good thing around the corner. You just don't know. Tim Lawson says bluegrass and folk go hand in hand. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Tim Lawson, who had the biggest selling bluegrass album for years in the United States? Do you know? Of course, I listen to a good deal of bluegrass. I listen to what I can. I'm more of a folk music guy. We do, of course, have to mark the passing of John Prine today. It is heartbreaking for all of us. A guy like John Prine, I was talking with my wife, Shirley, last night. We were talking about the dear John Prine, and I said, guys like him are able to articulate the feelings we have inside ourselves that we don't quite understand. That's what they're here for. That's what they're here for. And John Prine filled that purpose mightily. All right, so we've shown you a couple of great records. Okay, check out Traffic's Dear Mr. Fantasy. Go back and listen to Canned Heat again. Listen to the Canned Heat Boogie. You know what's funny is when ZZ Top came out with their song Tres Hombres, I was kind of disappointed. I go, wait a minute, that's a Canned Heat tune. That's a Canned Heat tune, because Canned Heat had come out with a song called the Canned Heat Boogie, and actually that was a it wasn't Blind Lemon Jefferson. I'll look it up, but there was a great blues artist, black blues artist. And that was his riff. But the first one to bring it to white kids' consciousness was a band named Canned Heat. Although, let's be honest, Dusty and all the guys in ZZ Top did a great version of it. I actually helped get one of the members of ZZ Top into Cuba to play a festival. Remind me tomorrow, if you're watching tomorrow, and if you're watching today and you're listening tomorrow, make sure that you put up, Tony, tell us how you got a member of ZZ Top. This was a number of years ago. There was a music festival in Cuba, and I was part of the arrangement of seeing that a member of ZZ Top was able to go and play there. Osborne Brothers, Rocky Top. Yes, Rocky Top's one of the great bluegrass country songs. Wish I was back on Rocky Top. Back in the Tennessee, hit Rocky Top. Man, in the early 70s, that was the music. It was being played in a lot of St. Louis bars. There'd be like duos in there, and we would get stinking drunk and dance badly to it, and it was a mighty time. Timothy Curtis says, I miss playing. I used to play under Capitol Records, trying to dream big in country music. That was in my early 20s. So much talent out there. Everyone wants to hit big. Today, I just enjoy playing for my 8 kids and running my own pest control company. Miss my band, though. Tim, if you got any music you want to send us that we can play, we'll find a way to play it for you right here we would love to do that. Hello, Ronnie Tropper Applebaum. So I think we're going to kind of wrap up today. Cheryl, what time is it?
36.
2:36. We're going to wrap up. This is a 30-minute show. We've now gone 6 minutes longer than we usually do, but we do it for us. We do it for you. Tonight at 6 o'clock, I'm excited, Mountain Standard Time, to be teaching a advanced comedy workshop on Zoom. You watching will be able to see the fine performers I'm working with tonight on April 17th on Zoom. Just send me your email. Send it to me via Messenger, Tony Vicich, Vicich, okay? Or send it here, and I'll try to capture it, and you'll be invited to that great show. Jim Perry, you have a blessed day, too. All right, I'm going to tell you this is a silly joke, okay? And this is about as safe and as clean a joke as you could possibly come up with, but I'm going to tell it to you, okay? And here it goes. There's a man, and he's a nice man, and he's a decent man, and he works in a lumber mill. He works in a lumber mill. And every day, and even though he's decent and honest and good and true, every day when he leaves, he takes with him a little piece of wood, okay, about 1 inch long, okay, 2 inches long, just a little square, little rectangle of wood. That's what he takes with him every day. And he works there for 30 years until he's compiled so much wood that it's stacked higher in his backyard than his house. From every day, 5 days a week, sometimes working overtime on Saturday, and taking a little piece of wood, okay? He now has all of this wood. He has stolen all that wood. Seemed like a small thing when he took it. Okay. And he feels terrible. And he's Catholic. And he goes to confession. And he kneels down, he goes and opens up the little window. And he goes, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned." And the priest says, "How long since your last confession, son?" He goes, 30 years. He goes, "Okay." He goes, "What's your sin?" He goes, "Well, Father," he goes, "I've actually been a good man my whole life, but every day I've stolen a little block of wood from the lumber yard where I worked for 30 years. So now I have about, I don't know, tons and tons of lumber sitting in my backyard." And the priest goes, "Tell me what you did." He goes, "Every day I took I just took a little teeny piece of wood that I wasn't supposed to. It wasn't my property. I took it and I brought it home, and I did it until I compiled this massive amount of wood." And the priest kind of sits there for a minute and kind of goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I don't know if this is a great sin." He goes, "But it's your sin and you wish to confess it." He goes, "Yes." He goes, "What should I do, Father? What should I do?" He goes, "All right." He goes, "Say 5 Our Fathers and 5 Hail Marys. And do you know how to make a novena?" And the guy looks up and goes, "No, Father, I don't. But if you got the plans, I got the wood." Okay. Silly little Catholic joke for you there. I'm going to have more jokes for you tomorrow. I'm going to have more silly knick-knack paddywhacks to show you and talk about. More record albums, okay? More fun stuff. I look forward to. Hello, Diane Howell, okay? Love seeing all of you here. I want to hear your suggestions. Send them right here. I would love to hear them. I'm going to see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Living on a Thin Line, Facebook Live, Comedy School's YouTube channel. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please go to ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. Okay, and see all the great things that we have on that new website, okay? And hopefully I'll see you here, and hopefully I'll see you in a workshop soon. My name's Tony Vicich. Bye-bye. All right, YouTubers. We're going to end the stream. Thank you for watching. Guy named Tom who comments in a positive way all the time. Tom, this is for you. Thanks for commenting. Tell people about the show. Get them to subscribe, pal. All right, look forward to your comments later on today. Bye-bye.